Do you have in mind a more specific breakdown of the social sciences? I presume you mean in relationship to the postmodern neo-Marxists that have taken over so much of the university. I would say philosophy seems to be in pretty good shape, strangely enough. It isn't exactly clear why. That's mostly my impression. I would say that in the rest of the university, if the discipline has at least one foot in science, then it's relatively safe. And so I would say psychology is relatively safe discipline because it's quite nicely constrained by the necessity of taking biology into account. That's less true with social psychology, but it's certainly true with clinical psychology, and it's even more true with neuroscience and the animal behavioral side of things. And statistics isn't science, but at least it's rigorous methodologically. If the discipline is very heavily theory dependent, like say sociology, or let's say women's studies, which I have virtually no respect for, not that that's really relevant, because whether or not I respect it isn't the issue. The issue is whether or not it actually is a high quality discipline, and I don't believe it's a high quality discipline at all. I would also say though, and I'm going to make a video about this in the next couple of weeks, and advice to university students when I launch that website I've been talking about that'll help people identify their courses as postmodern / neo-Marxist, so that they can either take them if they want to be indoctrinated or avoid them if they want to actually have an education. I would say it's your responsibility, it's your responsibility to get educated at university, and sort of despite the university, we could say that. There are great books. You can find out what they are, and you can read them. And what the university does, and society, is offer you an identity for 4 years. You're a student, you're a university student, and so that's a credible identity, and it offers you a lot of freedom. And so you might say you might have to get educated despite your courses. And you think, well, that's a bad deal because the courses should be educating you. It's like, well, you got to look at it from a more realistic perspective. You can't expect the university to be a perfect institution any more than you're a perfect person. And at least it offers you an identity to shield yourself with while you're undergoing the difficult process of educating yourself. And so I would say, take responsibility for education. Find professors that you respect and who challenge you, and don't fall prey to the cynical attitude that you take the course for the grade, or that you should write what the professor wants to hear. I mean, you have to be a real corrupt professor before you'll mark a student for producing an opinion contrary to yours that's high quality. I mean, even the more corrupt professors, even in the more corrupt disciplines, I think are fairly rarely guilty of that sort of thing. So anyways, if it's grounded in science, it's more likely to be reliable. That's the first thing to know. But the second thing is to know it's your responsibility to get educated, and the libraries are full of great books. You can figure out what the great books are. In half an hour you could make a list of 50 great books. I have one on my website. You could read all those. That'd take about 2 years probably to really do a proper job of it. You read the great classics, scientific and literary, historical, all of that. You'll get educated, and then you'll be sharp and coherent and articulate and powerful and able to formulate arguments and able to negotiate and able to formulate problems and solve them. And that's exactly what you should be doing when you get educated. It has tremendous economic value, and that includes education in the humanities.